Hey, Lunamoth here. Okay, so everything from yesterday led me to do a bunch of research on liquefaction. So liquefaction zones are produced when violent earthquakes loosen water-saturated soil, essentially turning it to quicksand and causing, basically it's like a sinkhole, but a larger area of a sinkhole, like a huge sinkhole. This also happens in poorly compacted landfill areas. Okay, I have an interactive map of California that I'm going to put in the text box below, where you can look up your area and it will tell you whether you are in a landslide zone, a liquefaction zone, or right next to a fault. So I looked up landslide and liquefaction zones for the 714 area code that I was getting a warning about. So it's basically Orange County area. And I'm going to read a few. I also wanted to look up LA, but LA is such an extensive area that I wouldn't be able to read them all off. So you're just going to have to look them up for yourself. Landslide zones are Laguna Niguel, Dana Point, San Clemente, Laguna Beach, Trabuco Canyon, Aliso Viejo, Newport Beach. Liquefaction zones are Newport Beach, Irvine, parts of Santa Ana, Huntington Beach, Fountain Valley, Garden Grove, Westminster, parts of Orange, Fullerton, Seal Beach to Stanton area, Long Beach, basically the whole port of Los Angeles, and the whole port of Long Beach area, as well as, this tripped me out, the whole 91 freeway. The whole 91 freeway is a liquefaction zone. I don't know if that was built using landfill or what the heck it was built on, but the whole 91 freeway is a liquefaction zone, completely unsafe. All of this research led me to remember the original warning that I got about the California earthquake, which was the two pennants that were on someone's wall, and the first one said California, and the other one said earthquake. They were like right next to each other. And the earthquake one was from the movie Earthquake, which was inspired by the 1971 earthquake that basically almost took out the Los Angeles Reservoir Dam and almost killed the valley of Los Angeles. So, reminded me to think about dams and reservoirs. I have a map of the California water system, including the aqueducts, that I will put below so you can take a look for yourself. Anyway, so it led me to this article it's called A Los Angeles Dam Story. In 1971, the near failure of a dam during a magnitude 6.7 earthquake forced 80,000 people to evacuate their residences. In 1994, which was the Northridge quake, the replacement dam survived an almost identical earthquake with little damage. So it goes on to talk about the 1971 San Fernando earthquake shook loose a massive slide in the upstream slope of the lower San Fernando Dam. Moments after the earthquake, only a thin dirt wall stood between 80,000 people in the valley, and 15 million tons of water poised behind the heavily damaged dam. It was a magnitude 6.7. It said the dam could not be repaired to safely hold its water supply, so they took the water out of the dam and lowered the water level, which took 3 days. So this dam was never actually repaired to USGS standards. It wasn't dismantled. It was reconstructed, and it's now a holding basin for stormwater and a backup to the new dam that was built in 1975-76, which is about 3,000 feet up from the other dam, and built to new standards. And then it says 2 decades later, the 1994 Northridge earthquake put the Los Angeles Dam to the test. The Northridge earthquake was almost equal in magnitude to the previous San Fernando earthquake. So basically, that old dam is still there and still useless. Okay. So dams and reservoirs, be on the lookout. But anyway, this led me to the 1994 Northridge earthquake. Let me read a little bit more about that. It occurred January 17th at 4:31 a.m., centered in Reseda, California, a neighborhood in north-central San Fernando Valley region of Los Angeles. It had a duration of approximately 10 to 20 seconds. It was a blind thrust earthquake, which is very different from a mega thrust earthquake, because the plates don't lift the other one up visibly. It had a moment magnitude of 6.7, which produced ground acceleration, which was among the highest ever instrumentally recorded in an urban area in North America. Okay, so I was wondering what ground acceleration is and if that has anything to do with liquefaction. It in fact doesn't. It's completely different from any measurements done on the Richter scale and completely different from any kind of liquefaction. It is not a measure of the total energy, magnitude, or size of an earthquake, but rather of how hard the earth shakes in a given geographic area, the intensity. Basically, this information about the 94 earthquake led me to look and see if there was any liquefaction that occurred during that quake. So here is a quote. Fortunately, the Northridge area has arid, dry soil. Thus, there were few significant liquefaction and ground failure effects. In contrast, soil liquefaction caused massive damage in the 1964 Alaskan and 1989 Loma Prieta earthquakes. Thousands of aftershocks occurred after the main earthquake. For example, a magnitude 5.9 aftershock occurred about a minute after the main shock, and a 5.6 occurred 11 hours later. Aftershocks are a concern because they can trigger the collapse of structures weakened by the main shock. This quake, because of where it was situated, had no liquefaction, or little liquefaction. If we're going to have a large quake in the area that I've been shown, there's going to be a lot of liquefaction. It's a whole liquefaction / landslide zone, especially because it's really close to the coast, which produces water-saturated soil. Damage occurred up to 85 miles away, with the most damage in the cities of Santa Monica, Simi Valley, Santa Clarita. Additional damage occurred about 50 miles southeast in Anaheim, as the scoreboard at Anaheim Stadium collapsed onto several hundred seats. Luckily, there was no one there because it was Martin Luther King Jr. Day, so it's a federal holiday. But Anaheim is in the 714 area. Liquefaction is caused by seismic vibrations, basically like sound waves. And the more that I look into this, the more that I'm led to believe that this is a man-made HAARP-induced earthquake, or at least it's going to be. And it's targeting areas that are especially vulnerable to this kind of damage. HAARP, if you don't know a lot about it, uses sound waves and vibrations to manipulate and control weather patterns. And if liquefaction is produced by seismic vibrations and sounds, then HAARP could definitely imitate something like this and make this happen. So I just feel like it's man-made. It is intentional. It has been planned for a while. It has been in the works for a while. I wanted to read one more thing that came up twice today. It was about valley fever. An unusual effect of the Northridge earthquake was an outbreak of valley fever. It's coccidodomycosis, a respiratory disease caused by inhaling airborne spores of a specific fungus or mold unique to the American Southwest. The number of cases in Ventura County was roughly 10 times the normal rate in the 8 weeks following the earthquake, and three people died. This was the first report of such an outbreak following an earthquake, and it is believed that the spores were carried in large clouds of dust created by seismically triggered landslides. Most of the cases occurred immediately downwind of the landslides. So it's like a dormant fungus that is released, I think, by either it's in buildings, and with the destruction of the building, it is set free into the air, and the spores are really dangerous. So it's called valley fever. This is where I'm going to be asking for your help. I would love any maps of current landfill zones, not like active landfills where they're dumping stuff, but I'm talking about things that are landfill that things have been built on top of, like something that has landfill underneath it. If anyone knows anything about medical masks, or like, the grade masks and which ones are best, where to get them, please let me know. Also, any links or emails for local news sources, or maybe churches who encourage or believe in prophecy. I'm really feeling the need to get this out there, to bring it out, because if we bring attention to it and if we warn people, then we can change the outcome of something disastrous that has been planned like this. If people are better prepared for it, and mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, it can help. Yeah, and my intention is not to scare people. My intention is to draw awareness to an event in order to remove the fear of the event, and to expose any kind of evil plan that is going on. So, once again, any maps of landfill zones, if you know that you're on a landfill, let me know. Any links, or if you want to share anything with, I don't know, local news teams, churches, anyone who would hear. And when I was in New York, there was a bar called the Ear Inn, and it's the first, or the original working, the first bar in New York that is still running. So it's like the original bar in New York. Well, okay, where this is located, it used to back up directly to the Hudson, and right outside of it, there's a little anchor where people would tie their boats to, and then there's a plaque saying this used to be the end of the island. But then they added another long block, which is a large amount of land, with landfill. So they extended the width of the island of Manhattan in the south, I think it's the eastern part on the Hudson. And that just reminded me of how much landfill we are on in, certain places in the United States that we don't necessarily even realize it. In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Please comment, share, anything, and I'll talk to you later.